The city of Iridia on planet Valera was alive with movement, light, and sound. Neon signs flickered in a dozen colors, advertising everything from alien delicacies to the latest gravtech vehicles. Hovercraft zipped between tall buildings, their engines humming with energy. Among this chaos, humans were a rare sight, often overlooked by the multicolored crowds of alien species that called Iridia home. But Jake, a human undercover cop, had learned to move unnoticed. His mission was clear: locate and stop the illegal tech smuggling ring that had been operating in the heart of the city. He walked calmly through the busy street market, his eyes scanning the crowd. Aliens of every shape and size moved past him, some with long tentacles, some with wings, some with scales that shimmered under the lights. Jake had learned to observe without being noticed. Every detail mattered. Every gesture, every whisper could hold a clue. His gut told him that the smuggling ring was close. Suddenly, a small purple figure darted through the crowd and collided with him. Startled, Jake instinctively stepped back, but the little alien girl held onto his arm tightly. She was tiny, maybe half his height, with smooth lavender skin and large luminous eyes that reflected the neon glow around them. Her wings were delicate and transparent, flickering faintly like dragonfly wings when she moved. "Please, don't arrest my sister," she pleaded, her voice trembling with urgency. Jake froze. He had been trained for dangerous encounters, but never had a tiny alien girl begged him so desperately. He bent down to her level, keeping his voice calm. "Who's your sister? Why would I arrest her?" "My sister? She's not a criminal," the girl cried, tears forming at the corners of her wide eyes. "She's only trying to help people." "Please, you don't understand." Jake felt a strange pull. Her sincerity was undeniable. He had seen many cases where alien children tried to manipulate humans, but this was different. There was fear, yes, but also trust. She was asking for help, not hiding anything. "Okay," Jake said softly. "Tell me where she is." Slowly, step by step. The little girl's hands shook, but she nodded and led him through twisting alleys and crowded streets, moving with surprising agility for someone so small. Jake followed silently, alert for any sign of danger. Every corner of Iridia had the potential for ambush, but he knew he had to trust the girl, at least for now. They stopped in front of an unassuming warehouse. Its exterior was rusty, neon lights flickering sporadically, giving the place an abandoned look. The girl peeked around a corner nervously before gesturing for Jake to follow. Inside, the warehouse was dimly lit. Shadows stretched across the walls, hiding machinery and crates piled high with strange alien devices. Jake's trained eyes immediately noticed the group of humanoid aliens in the center. They were surrounding a young, purple-skinned woman, her older sister, Jake assumed, who held a small device tightly in her hands. Her eyes were sharp, filled with determination, and she did not look like someone who belonged to a smuggling operation. The little girl clutched Jake's sleeve. "Please, and she's only trying to stop them. She didn't steal anything. She just wanted to protect people." Jake's mind raced. This wasn't a simple arrest. If the girl was telling the truth, the woman might be on a mission to prevent the smuggling of dangerous tech. Jake had dealt with smugglers before. He knew they didn't hesitate to hurt anyone who interfered. His instincts told him to intervene carefully. He crouched slightly behind a stack of crates and watched the situation. The smugglers were arguing, gesturing toward the device, their voices low and dangerous. Jake could hear fragments of their conversation. "We can sell this to the mercenaries. Huge profit. Don't let anyone stop us." The older girl didn't speak. She just held the device tightly, her eyes darting around the room, calculating her next move. The little girl tugged at Jake again. "Please, don't let them take her. She's all I have. I can't lose her." Jake felt a surge of determination. Humans were often underestimated by alien species. They thought humans were weak, impulsive, or too emotional. But Jake knew that a human could make a difference. Quick thinking, courage, and a willingness to act when others hesitated. These were qualities that often surprised even the most advanced alien species. The tension in the warehouse thickened. Every second counted. Jake knew he had to make a decision: wait for backup and risk the girls being harmed, or act immediately using the element of surprise. His choice became clear when the door rattled slightly. Reinforcements from the smuggling ring were approaching. If he waited, there would be no chance for the sisters. Jake took a deep breath. He couldn't let fear paralyze him. Slowly, he moved a crate, causing a loud crash that echoed through the warehouse. The smugglers turned toward the sound, momentarily distracted. "Go," he whispered to the little girl, nodding toward her sister. The older girl grabbed her sibling's hand and they dashed toward the back exit. Jake followed, using his body to block anyone who tried to stop them. His movements were precise, trained, and fast. He pushed aside attackers, kicked over obstacles, and used his environment cleverly. A pile of crates toppled on one smuggler, while a hanging metal chain swung to knock another off balance. The little girl's wings fluttered wildly as she ran, and Jake felt a strange sense of admiration. For all her small size and fragile appearance, she had courage and determination. Together, they made a human-alien team that no smuggler could anticipate. They reached the back alley, gasping for breath. The neon lights of Iridia reflected off wet pavement, casting long shadows as they moved. Jake could hear the distant shouts of smugglers, but for now the sisters were safe. The little girl clutched Jake's arm. You saved us," she whispered, her voice full of awe and gratitude. I thought we would never get out." Jake smiled faintly, keeping his voice calm. "Humans don't give up easily. You did your part too. You stayed brave when it mattered." They moved further into the labyrinth of streets, eventually finding a safe spot behind an abandoned building. The little girl finally let go of his arm and sat down, hugging her knees. Her sister crouched beside her, brushing a strand of purple hair from her eyes. "You need to tell me everything," Jake said, crouching in front of them. "Why were you there? What were you trying to do?" The older girl took a deep breath. "We found out that the smugglers were selling tech that could harm innocent colonies. We tried to warn the authorities, but they didn't believe us. We had no choice. We had to stop it ourselves." The little girl nodded rapidly. "We didn't know what else to do. And then you appeared. You saved us." Jake listened carefully. He had seen many situations where humans or aliens intervened in crime, but this was different. Here were two sisters, risking everything to stop a dangerous operation. And yet they had been underestimated, just as humans often were. "Humans can surprise people," Jake said quietly. "Even the strongest, the smartest, the most dangerous. They don't expect us to act the way we do. That's our advantage." The sisters looked at him, their eyes wide. "You really believe that?" the little girl asked. Jake nodded. "I've seen it too many times to doubt it. Courage isn't about size or strength. It's about action, about doing what's right even when it's hard. You both showed that today." For a moment, silence fell. Only the distant sounds of the city broke the quiet. Then the older sister spoke. "Thank you for trusting us. Most humans wouldn't even notice." Jake felt a surge of pride, not for himself, but for what humanity represented. Even in a galaxy dominated by advanced alien civilizations, humans had qualities that mattered: courage, quick thinking, adaptability, and a willingness to protect others, no matter the cost. The little girl leaned against him, exhaustion written all over her tiny frame. Will you help us stop them for good?" she asked. Jake straightened, determination in his eyes. "Yes, we'll stop them together. No one gets away with harming the innocent while we're around." The sisters exchanged a glance, hope flickering in their luminous eyes. Jake knew that this was only the beginning. The smugglers would not give up easily, and there would be more danger ahead. But he also knew that humans, with their unpredictability and courage, could change the course of events, even in a galaxy full of powerful alien species. As they moved deeper into the city, preparing for their next move, Jake felt a sense of purpose he hadn't felt in years. The little purple girl's hand found his again, a silent reminder that sometimes the smallest beings could inspire the greatest courage. And in that moment, Jake understood why humans were feared, respected, and often underestimated throughout the galaxy. They never gave up, no matter the odds. The night air of Iridia carried the scent of ozone and strange spices. Neon lights flickered on the streets ahead, and the distant hum of hovercraft filled the sky. Jake led the sisters toward a safe house he knew well, planning their next steps carefully. They would need strategy, skill, and courage. But above all, they needed each other. And together, a human cop and two brave alien sisters would face the smuggling ring, showing the galaxy that even the smallest and seemingly weakest beings could make the greatest difference. Jake led the two sisters through the winding streets of Iridia, keeping to the shadows to avoid the notice of the smuggling ring. The neon lights reflected off the wet pavement, casting strange patterns across the walls. Every sound, The distant hum of hovercraft, the chatter of alien street vendors, the occasional clang of a falling crate, made him tense, alert. He knew the smugglers wouldn't give up easily. Finally, they reached a small safe house tucked between two towering buildings. It looked abandoned from the outside, with peeling paint and broken windows, but Jake had used it before. Inside, it was spacious, with supplies stored in hidden compartments, and enough technology for them to communicate with the authorities without being traced. The older sister sank onto a worn couch, exhaustion visible in her posture. "We can't stop them alone," she admitted, her voice quiet. "They have too many people, too much firepower. We only tried to slow them down." Jake nodded. "I know, but we don't need to fight them all at once. We need to be smart. Outsmart them, not outfight them." He opened his portable scanner, connecting it to the building's secure network. Streams of holographic data lit up the room, showing the city layout, potential smuggler hideouts, and known routes for illegal shipments. The little girl peered over his shoulder, fascinated. "You're human, but you think like an alien," she said, a small smile forming. "That's amazing," Jake chuckled softly. "Humans have a way of surprising everyone, even aliens. You'll see soon enough." For the next few hours they planned carefully. The sisters explained everything they knew about the smuggling operation, how the devices were being transported, which smugglers held the most dangerous tech, and the locations of their storage depots. Jake combined this with his law enforcement knowledge, creating a strategy that was both bold and precise. By the time the sun began to rise over Iridia, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange, they were ready. Jake handed each sister a small device, a compact defensive tool that could emit a blinding light or a shock to incapacitate attackers briefly. "Use these if you need to. But stay together and stay smart," he instructed. The little girl nodded fiercely. "We won't let anyone hurt us or anyone else again." They moved out quietly, slipping through back alleys and side streets to reach the first target, a storage depot where the smugglers kept their dangerous tech. Jake could feel his pulse quicken. This was the real test. Humans were often underestimated, and this was exactly the kind of situation where their ingenuity mattered most. The depot was heavily guarded, with drones hovering above and two large alien guards at the entrance. Jake crouched behind a stack of crates, observing their patterns. "We can't just rush in," he whispered. "We need a distraction." The little girl tilted her head. "I can do that," she said. Her wings shimmered faintly as she stepped out from behind the crates, using her small size and speed to dart across the entrance. The guards were momentarily distracted, giving Jake and the older sister a chance to slip inside unnoticed. Once inside, they moved quickly, finding the storage area where the dangerous devices were kept. The older sister scanned the shelves and found the exact crate she had been looking for. "This is it," she whispered. "If we destroy this, they can't sell it to anyone." Jake looked around. There were security panels, cameras, and alarms that could trigger instantly. "We need to be careful," he said. "I'll handle the panels. You destroy the devices carefully. Don't cause an explosion that could hurt anyone." Using his human ingenuity, Jake quickly disabled the security system, rerouting the alarms and cameras temporarily. The sisters worked together, using their knowledge of alien tech to safely disable the dangerous devices. The little girl's hands shook slightly as she worked, but her determination never wavered. After several tense minutes, they succeeded. The dangerous devices were neutralized, and the depot was now useless to the smugglers. Jake smiled, feeling the satisfaction of a mission halfway completed. But they weren't done yet. The smugglers would soon realize what had happened and come after them. They left the depot silently, slipping into the streets as the first signs of the city waking up appeared. Jake led them to another location, a hidden alleyway where the smugglers often transferred tech to buyers. This time he planned to catch them in the act and ensure they were brought to justice. The sisters followed closely, trusting his guidance. The little girl whispered, "I never thought humans could be this brave." Jake looked at her, smiling faintly. Bravery isn't about being big or strong. It's about acting when it matters, no matter the risk. They reached the transfer point just in time. A hovercraft was landing, and several smugglers were moving crates toward it. Jake signaled to the sisters, and they split up, using their agility and speed to create confusion. The little girl darted around the smugglers, making them chase shadows and leaving them vulnerable. The older sister used her knowledge of alien tech to lock the hovercraft's controls temporarily, preventing escape. Jake moved with precision, using his combat training to subdue the smugglers quickly and efficiently. His human instincts, quick thinking, adaptability, and courage gave him the edge. The smugglers had never expected humans to be this resourceful. Within minutes, the operation was under control. The authorities, whom Jake had alerted earlier through the secure network, arrived and apprehended the remaining smugglers. The sisters watched in awe as the criminals were taken away, realizing that humans, even in a galaxy dominated by advanced aliens, could change the outcome of events through courage and strategy. The little girl ran to Jake, hugging him tightly. "Thank you, human. You saved my sister and so many others." Jake patted her gently. "You both helped too. Courage comes in many forms. Today you proved that." The older sister approached him, her expression serious but grateful. "I won't forget this. You showed me that humans are capable of more than we imagined." Jake nodded. "And you showed me that even the smallest beings can inspire the greatest courage." In the days that followed, the sisters worked with the authorities to dismantle the rest of the smuggling network. Jake continued his undercover work, but he often thought about the purple-skinned girls who had reminded him why humans were valued across the galaxy. Their determination, trust, and bravery were proof that humanity's strength wasn't just in technology or power, but in heart and action. One evening, as the three of them watched the neon lights of Iridia flicker in the distance, the little girl turned to Jake. "Do you think humans and aliens can really work together?" Jake smiled. "I've seen it today. When we trust each other, use our strengths, and act with courage, anything is possible. Humans are underestimated a lot, but that's their advantage. We surprise everyone when it matters most." The sisters nodded, their eyes shining with hope and admiration. They knew the galaxy was full of dangers, but with allies like Jake, they felt capable of facing anything. And Jake, for his part, felt a renewed sense of purpose. Humans might be small compared to some alien species, but their ingenuity, courage, and willingness to act made them powerful in ways the galaxy could never ignore. As they parted ways that night, the little girl looked back and waved. "We'll see you again, human, and next time we'll fight alongside you." Jake watched them disappear into the neon-lit streets, a smile on his face. He knew that humans, even in the far reaches of space, could make a difference. They could protect, inspire, and lead, sometimes in ways no one expected. And in a galaxy full of advanced civilizations, that was a power no one could underestimate. The night air carried the hum of hovercraft and the distant chatter of aliens, but for Jake there was a sense of calm. He had seen bravery in its many forms that night. In a small purple-skinned girl, her determined sister, and himself. Humans might not always be the strongest or the fastest, but their courage and ingenuity were unmatched. And in a universe full of uncertainty and danger, that made all the difference. Jake knew that the adventure was far from over. There would be more smugglers, more threats, and more situations where humans would be underestimated. But he also knew that humans had something unique, a spark that could ignite change, protect the innocent, and inspire even the most advanced alien species. That spark had burned brightly that night, and Jake was determined to keep it alive wherever the galaxy might take him next.